we're going to do a randori with what we've already been working on. Randori is no different than what you've just been doing. You know, I see people studying, working, doing incredible kata, and then they get the randori and they get in this lost space. What you train in the basic walking movements in the 17 and all these katas that's all randori is. You have a procedure when something happens. You know, as doctors, you have a procedure that you practice. You don't then go out and somebody comes in the emergency room with that particular type of injury, and just because it's a real thing, you treat it differently. You go back to your very basic stuff. Does that make sense? Now, I've got the knives, so we don't tie up a third person. What I want to do is one of you, whoever your partner is, one of you have the knife to the side. I want it changed around to the side, to the back. And while you're doing the randori, you're also protecting your baby or your elderly person. Does that make sense? Now, the other guys still pray. You okay with it? I'm good. Yeah. Here, you want to smile? Brian, I think I've ghosted Brian out, but that's okay. I can do that. All right. The object is not to get the knife. The object is to just do randori. But I want one person protecting somebody with the idea of doing randori. Does that make sense? Can I get a volunteer? Brian, come on. Can I get somebody to hold the rest of these? What the deal was? Set it behind you, Brian. No, behind you on the. What we did was basically we had a third person that was an invalid or a child, right, that one person was protecting and the other person was just making attacks, just on this person. But you've got to also, it's like multiple attacks. You've also got to keep in mind that you're protecting one of your kids or a relative. Does that make sense? So we're just going to do randori, and all you got to do is do randori and keep me away from that in a safe direction. Does that make sense? Done. That's it. You got a gun? Now don't worry. No, you can't leave. You bring.
That's just what I do with him.
Okay, so we're going.
Okay.
What'd you? Oh.
That was sorry. Yeah, I'm not very.
Oh, that was nice.
Not very good at this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
it was now. Don't.
That was the kid I didn't like.
No, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. That was a great move.
Get rid of that.
That was an excellent Aikido move. Not necessarily for that situation. Does that make sense? That was a perfect Aikido move. But you also now have to keep in mind that you got somebody to take care of. Sir.
I'm just, no, I don't have anything to say. I'm just thinking.
It didn't work for you the first time.
No, it didn't. Like I said, this is the boy I didn't really like.
Nice. Beautiful. Nice. Nice run. Beautiful. Mate. Isn't that sweet? What did he do?
My hips to you, just like
that. And he did a series. Did you see what he did? He did a series of releases. Which begins with what? Off balance. Which is what you saw a beautiful demonstration of. Guys, balanced as well as he did. This has just been a muscle man contest throwing people around, but his off balance of people is so good that it sets up everything else. You know, I'm a 2.5 ton truck. But when you're my age, or back when I was a kid, we had the big old wheat trucks and their starters never worked. So what'd you do? You backed them up on a hill. So when you got out there in the morning, you just let the clutch out and put it in gear and let it roll down a little bit and bump started it. That's what off balance is. As opposed to getting a 2.5 ton truck and just trying to start it from a flatter uphill. Does that make sense? So no matter what you're doing, if you notice, he was very good at off balance. Look at that. Look what his off balance is. Look how good that is. He don't have to worry about nothing else. I think we sometimes get too consumed with the idea of, I've got to get a technique. I've got to get a technique. That makes sense? Go ahead and take me down, Brian. Don't hurt me.
How do I do that exactly?
That's fine. Now, stop right there. That was perfect, because if he would thrown me down and he was still standing, I have an opportunity to get back up and make another attack. If he'll go down with me, which I prefer. Now, this is just a personal preference. You can, what we call, in police work, you can detain the person and keep them occupied. If I throw the guy over there, then he gets back up and he has an opportunity to keep coming back. I don't particularly want that or like that. Not saying it's not valid. It's just something that I think if I can get the guy down once, I'm going to be lucky. I don't really want to try twice. Does that make sense? So if you just grab, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, buddy.
It is incredible. So if you don't mind, just grab your partner, take one of the rubber knives, change off. One of you, you're both doing randori. Same randori, same releases, same everything. But one of you has to be cognizant of what techniques you're doing. Situational awareness. Situational awareness. Okay, go ahead. Now walk around if you have any questions or answers. Bad stuff that you can imagine.
Yeah,
And like I said, you got, you work in the yard?
I have, yes.
Okay. And you know what fucking crazy is coming out of the yard. Your situation and stuff is going to be different. And you should practice from your perspective.
Right.
You should practice because you're going to end up in that situation more than you are mine.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Sure.
It's similar and you're using the same principles, but a little bit different.
He's right. We can learn medicine.
Wasn't that nice? Now remember, listen everybody, listen up. Remember, on child abductions, normally there's a second person around. You got a second guy trying to get a child, so you can't just deal with this guy. You need to be scanning for additional problems. Does that make sense? Not saying don't just look off in the wall blue yonder, but be cognizant that there might be another person out there. All right. Go ahead. What?
The bad guy was helping me. He said, watch out.
Watch out, he's going to get your kid.
They already got me. They got my kid over
Okay, just because you're not doing techniques doesn't mean you can't get behind him. When he's coming in here, say the kid's on this side of him, and he's kind of headed toward the kid a little bit. There's no reason why I can't turn him here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Instead of just kind of staying in front of him and fucking
It gives
with
him an additional problem to think of. He's going out, yeah, he's coming on here, and now all of a sudden he's facing the opposite direction. He's got two people behind him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
And from there, guess what? I get a coat of Gashi, can't I? True? Yes. So open your mind to all the information you have and utilize it. You know, having a cell phone and only having one number is kind of like having the old rotary phone and only talking to one person at a time as opposed to talking to somebody and looking up something on Google and having another screen that you can pull up somebody else's number to give them and all that stuff. Don't limit yourself to oh, I'm just going to get him out of the way. Just block him. That's okay, but at some point in time, you're going to get tired.
Yeah.
You need to do something. Y'all doing okay?
Yeah, they were eyeballing us and waiting for their opening, and they took it. Okay, sorry, my kid. They took my kid.
Oh God, you're sorry.
I'm a bad parent.
You're a bad parent. I'm DHS and I'm here to take you in.
Wait, I wasn't drinking. Wait. Oh, that's it. It's 18.
Well, I'm waiting to watch. I wanted to see something. You okay, bud? Did he dump you on your ass? Doo-dah, doo-dah, doo-dah day.
I have been holding him out being so fast. It didn't make me play with this. So I stepped in to get it and he just stepped off the line.
I've got you. Yeah. Grab me straight on like this. Relationship. It's not him. Or if it's turned a little bit down, is your shoulder okay? Number 4 release. One fight with it. Does that make sense? It tells you exactly where it's at. Quit fighting with him. Utilize what he gives you. He grabs you both of them. Oh, you've got 2 of them here. You can actually grab across and pull him in and go. Oh, here we go. Or you can grab him across and do a solo. I mean, if you want to use judo. You're not limited to anything. You're only limited by what you won't allow to process. Okay? No, I'm sorry. You stepped on your own baby. That's child abuse. God, you judo guys and wrestlers, I love it. Protect that baby.
I was trying to pass it this way.
Huh?
I didn't know the pass it this way before.
The pacifist way. Oh, okay. You want your kid dead. You want your kid dead and then being raped. Is that pacifist?
I don't know.
What?
Just standing there. That's just crazy.
If he's boxing, are you boxing?
I'm getting ready to punch him right in the head.
Okay, punch you right in the head. How do you stop a boxer? You cover their hands.
And get off the line of attack.
And then what do? You do a release. And then they set them down. Does that make sense? Don't wait for somebody to punch. Put your hands up and box me. Am I putting a lot of pressure on you? A lot of pressure. And when they step, there you go. Does that make sense?
It does. It does.
Don't play their game. Is that not a release? Put your hand up. Is this not a release? Is that not a number 3 release? Is all it was. Okay, be easy. Don't kill anybody. Okay, let's talk about something for just 1 second. Just stay right where you are. Now use you, sir. We talked about this a while ago. What if you got a puncher and a kicker out there? You're still doing the same thing, but you've got to intervene. What you can't do in striking arts and in boxing from this side is cover the gloves. That tells me I want to cheat. I don't want to wait till this guy, as soon as his hands come up, I want to cover him. And did you see just a number 3 release there? That's all that was. Does that make sense? Now, even in high school when I was a great athlete, or theoretically great in my own mind, grass grew faster than I could run. So I'm never going to be a speed demon and try to match these guys for speed or anything like that. I never can. I never will. So I'm not going to wait and go. He puts his hands up and then I go. Because he's going to hit me about 23 times before I can move. But what I can do, and you'll find out, there's a, what, Eric? Where's Eric? Eric Pearson? Is he going? He's here. Okay. Anyway, he has a guy that's been in striking art 33 years or so. And he's very good at it. And I mean, he'll punch something 23 times. The interesting thing is, the minute you touch him, you off balance him, and it interrupts that flow of multiple punches and stuff, and it just eats him up. Because I'm walking around slow, and I just get my hands up there and cover it, and you step around behind him, you just cannot. He's used to being able just to have his way with anybody. Well, I'm not in this to win a match on something. I'm in this to survive and to protect my kids. Does that make sense? So I'm not gonna, yeah, I'm tough. I've been in football for years and all that stuff, broke horses and stuff like that. But at some point in time, that gets old and it hurts. And I'm not gonna put my life, my child's life, or my friend's life on the line because I want to show them how tough I am. No, I want to get it done with efficiency and as quickly as possible. You know, we wear I used to wear body armor, but I'm not going to stand there and go, "You shoot me first," and then I'll draw and we'll have a gunfight. No, what I want to do is, by the time he's got his gun out, is have my pistol right there in his ear, and I don't just set it up there where he's on balance, because get out of that. He can move easily and do that. But if I'll push on him a little bit, guess what? It's very difficult. Off balance saves my life. Does that make sense? Off balance. Off balance. Off balance. He brings those hands up. I've off balanced him. It doesn't take much, does it?
No.
Off balance. Now, can I do multiple techniques? Absolutely. But my mission, or if let's say the knife is behind me, my mission is not to be cool and neat. My mission is to protect this while I'm scanning for additional targets. Does that make sense? If at any point in time, I can also move up and down the scale of the use of force and be more safe when I have to go to court. That makes sense? But if you'll follow the off balance and use the least amount of force necessary, like we're all learning to do, but be efficient with that, you can get very good at taking people down and not hurting them. At all those arrests I made. Now, I mentioned I never had to take anybody to emergency room or medical. I also never had to go to court on any of them for any of the use of force. Yeah, I had to go to court for other things, but I was never charged with excessive force. So what's that tell you? That tells you we've got a system that's probably, in my mind, the greatest thing in the world for just normal people, everyday people like us. You know, I don't want to go out there and fight nobody. I just want to be ready when it comes. Does that make sense? So I come up with a hand. Here. He's a police officer. I bring my hands up to box. Go for it. You, not EWE, but you. See, he can't be taught. So if that enters, don't wait. That's it. Oh, I'm sorry, that's not where that goes. You don't want to wear that after that, who do you, Bob?
I'm not going to wear it.
Oh, go on, word with you, brother.
I will sanitize it.
I don't think you could find it after that. Anyway, if that instance comes up, or firearms, he's a police officer, he starts to draw his firearm, what have I got here? Does that make sense? He's a quick draw. I don't have to take the gun away. All I've got to do is keep it from shooting me. The gun's not the danger. This is the danger. The human being's the danger. So go ahead and grab your partner. Sir!
So he's a police officer and you're teaching us how to get the gun away from him?
No, I'm saying he is well trained to draw a weapon properly. And when I say draw your weapon, I don't have to go, draw your weapon. Because he understands, he's been told to draw his weapon very often. So he understands to draw it. My point is, he's more efficient than 90% of the people on the earth because they train very well with firearms. But yet, I still could, with that release, have a greater chance of survivability. Plus, what did you see? You saw the muzzle away from what I'm trying to protect you. Yeah, Steve doesn't matter. I don't care about him. He's old. And
He is old. I did have another question though. We were talking a little bit earlier about your strategy of getting behind the guy. But if getting behind the guy lets there be nobody between the baby and the bad guy, what's your thought on that?
Well, when I get behind him, the guy's not going to go anywhere without his head. Does that make sense? Or if I drop to a lateral vascular and then drop to a knee, and all of a sudden I see a second assailant, I can break his neck and then go to that person. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's what our conclusion was too, but I just wondered if you had a different thought.
All you've got to do, you can take one rule away in the NFL, and any of us can play in the NFL. If we can grab the face mask, we can tackle anybody in the NFL. Would everybody agree with that? All you got to do is grab it and fall down, and that guy is not going to go much farther. Okay? So it's not a hard thing. Now, I can't get in here. He's big and strong, and I can't get in here chest to chest with him because he'll just plow me over to where he's wanting to go. I have to control the head. That makes sense? How many techniques have we got to do that? Shomarate, Agamate, Yakamate. So if I happen to step out here, out to the side and do this one, where's he going? He's not going to get there, is he? Any other questions?
That was just kind of what he was talking about, is that if you get behind, you can inadvertently give them access unless you have control. You have a way of sort of slipping in such that they're not right down on it.
From the moment you engage with your off balance, you should be getting control. Masashi says keep the initiative. Does that make sense? Keep the initiative. Keep the initiative. Okay? So what if he throws me? I keep the initiative and throw him. Use that energy plus gravity to throw him away from the target and out of it. Yeah, is it a dogfight? Yes, but you got to survive the first second before you survive the second second. You got to survive the first gunshot to survive the second gunshot. Does that make sense? Now, I'm not talking necessarily everybody's going to survive. I'm talking the probability of that. Anything that you can do to increase the probability of that is what you want to do. We talked about that earlier before we went out on felony arrest. Number one problem with semi-automatic weapons is not having a magazine seated or not having a round chamber. So you don't wait to get out there and something happen, you bring your weapon up and go, I wonder if this is loaded. No, 3 or 4 times a day you check that magazine, make sure the spring is feeding good. Crack that slide open, make sure that round's chambered. All of a sudden you've eliminated your primary possibilities. Does that increase your chances of survival greatly? Well, that's all we're doing here. That's all we're doing here. We're taking steps to ensure that our survivability, your katas are all about increasing your survivability. What's the first thing? Off balance. In every kata. Off balance. That increases your survivability. Fit properly. That again increases your survivability. Throw properly. And over and over and over again. And if you don't have those, then you're just a muscle man out here trying to fight. And at some point in time, you'll get old and decrepit and won't be able to do this stuff because you won't have the strength to keep up with everybody. Does that make sense? So, any other questions? I feel beautiful. Isn't that neat? And this is right out of the kata that you just been practicing, wasn't it? Hey, Nick, these moves out of the kata actually work.
They work. What do you know? I love it when shit works.
Don't tell me on the baby.
Please don't kill our black belts. Please, please, please,
Not
please.
him. I said, I've done this since a kid.
Do you know the release percent?
I'm a little iffy on him.
Okay.
Just a couple.
I like your movement. I like your attitude. Get those released.
Yes, sir.
Brian and I have been together for I don't know how many years. One of the best instructors I've ever met in my life.
He's really good.
He's awesome. Not real bright, but you know, just with 2 doctors or 3. So I don't know how many fucking doctors he's got. He's one of them educated. Beautiful. Nice. Sweet. You have children?
No, I'm not dogs though.
This is your dog.
We're pretending it's a Yorkie. She's very protective of her Yorkie.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, instead of trying to grab
You're fine. Just to the release of his arm. There you go. Is he away?
He is away.
He's away. That's all you're trying to do. Keep him safe. Oh, there goes the baby. Baby got stepped on.
Baby got kidnapped.
No, wait. Move it from side to side. Have it be out beside you for a while. And you can still go for him, but you're still, now what you gotta do? You've got to adjust. The whole point is making yourself uncomfortable. Work through situations that you don't know how quite to deal with, and then just make yourself comfortable and go from there.
You're making him comfortable. Make him comfortable.
I'm making myself comfortable.
He'll make him uncomfortable.
Oh, make him uncomfortable. Okay.
That's on mic, getting uncomfortable. That was on the mic. I shouldn't have said that.
When he's coming in, you intercept him.
You're straight in the head.
Always. Right there. Go ahead. Go do that. Why would I want to fuck with the wrist or an arm bar?
Because it gets them down to your level to get to the head.
That's why I'm doing it. I'm still doing a release. Where'd that put his head?
Oh God, it's even worse.
It's even worse.
Oh God, that's even worse.
Dude, okay. You do a release. You okay, Steve?
It's a second intruder you didn't know about.
Oh, I see. Look here. You do a release. That pulls them down, and you just follow them around.
Oh God.
You just gotta lay here and wait for the police to come. He's gonna fuck you here. Actually, if I slide down just a little bit, it makes it more uncomfortable. I'm not doing anything but laying there. You okay, sir?
Oh yeah.
Am I making that comfortable enough yet?
He'll be traumatized.
Yeah, you can press your rib. Booty Twins! Twins!
Hey.
It's the multiple types of vascular restraint, the crush restraint.
Crushing restraint.
And diaphragm has to move somehow.
Absolutely. And that's a very valid choke.
Oh yeah.
That's a restraint. I don't want to say choke. Come over here for a second. My foot. My foot hurts.
Taking a string or a
So, do a release, bring it down to your level, and take it down. Eat gently. Do any release, it doesn't matter. However he grabs you, do a release. Do a release. There you go. Wait. Now you just laid him on the baby.
I did not. I rolled him away from him.
Oh, I see you rolled him away from the baby. Did that work? For you, that's going to be a lot of your options.
Actually, that one was
Not necessarily. Why don't you do number 3? Push it up and over. There you go. Oh my God. Why fight with shit? That was just a number 3 release, wasn't it? How long have you been doing releases? Oh my God. You that fucking slow? Oh, I guess you're mine. I guess you are. Oh,
I gotta be with Chris.
no.
I can't be smart.
You told me to be mean to him. Okay, now you be mean to him. What?
Tear my head off if you want.
No, don't tear him down. I'll get you to be nice to him. Sweet! Thinking there's a lot. It's probably not going to be the same. Nice. Nice. Think of those as releases. That's sweet.
She just likes kicking me.
Sorry.
I know they like this shit, but it scares me. I told her to slow down a little bit. Okay, let's look at something here for a second. You know the release, correct? Get in that same position. Get in that same position. Now, what release have you got? Number 3. Number 3. From there. And now I'm behind him. And he seems to like it when I'm.
Don't worry. We're gonna need 65.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Okay. Everybody listen up. We have a person in the room that's somewhat.
Good looking?
Well, I wasn't thinking that. They're challenged in certain ways. And I won't mention shortness. And she's having trouble with that. Well, if you're short, you can't get taller. But what you can do with the off balance is help bring them down to you. First of all, they got to come down to you anyway to reach you, correct? If they're going to try to reach Tanya, they're going to crush her. What their first motion is to come down after her. You got half the battle won. So give me a tall person. Not Tanya. I guess you could put her on somebody's shoulders, and then she still wouldn't be tall. So when you do your releases and stuff, you stop the action, you do a release. What happened here? He come down, didn't he? I've still got, does that make sense? Instead of trying to jump up somewhere, did you see how the off, one more time, real slow. Did you see how the off balance dropped him? And I just assist him on down. Does that make sense? Come with something else. And it's still, was that not a release? Number 4. Attack, just grab some way, it doesn't matter. He's grabbed here. What have I got here? I have a number 4 release, don't I? Does that make sense? They're already reaching down to get you. They're already, if they really want you, so you really got actually a pretty good advantage. You have a much more advantage than those tall guys. Does that make sense? Not that you're as good looking as some of us, but you. Anybody else want to try that? Yes, sir. And when you can take your time and go slow. The important thing is to recognize where you are in the situation. Does that make sense? Now, his elbow's out as opposed to down like his was. So what's my release here? Number 3. Does that make sense? And controlling the head is critical. When I say in the NFL, if you grab the top back's face mask every time, any of us can take him down. It's not that hard. But if I get out here with this strong guy and try to fight up here on his shoulders, that's just a horse race. And I ain't horse enough to take him down. But if you can get that head down and control it, at what point in time haven't I controlled the head? Go ahead and do something if you want to. Ah! What?
Spontaneous emissions.
I don't have all that stomach to be able to do that.
Honey, that's not stomach. No.
Constipation?
It could be. So it's not, your shortness can be debilitating, but if you get your off balance, the height differential doesn't make that, the weight differential doesn't make that much difference. I do this all the time. Everybody close their eyes. Nobody's going to get hurt. Get out of here where you're flat-footed. Close your eyes and just stand there. Feel yourself floating back and forth. When you breathe in, you're going backwards. When you breathe out, you're going forwards. If your mind doesn't compensate for that constantly, that's off balance, guys. So it's not this big massive force that everybody thinks this is. It's just a small amount of redirection that they don't feel. The less they feel, the less they can react to. Does that make sense? You know, I'm a big bad guy, but everybody goes, hey, you're working like working with a feather. Because I'm not fighting. I'm looking for that off balance, and I'm looking for that safe zone. Give her a second, Brian. Please, sir, if you don't mind. Just help me out. Thank you, sir. Does that make sense? So think about that. Was that not what Patrick was doing a while ago? Here, come here for a second. What did he do here? What did you see the head there? The head popped down. What was he doing? He was off balance, and now he's got himself. If he's standing up, it's very hard for me to reach him. He's on balance. I'm going to have a fight here. But if I break him, oh, what? See him try to stand up right there? Every human being, when they trip, doesn't just go, oh, this is fun. Oh. I know some police officers might, I don't know. But us normal people are going to try to stand up. The off balance creates the step. Now we're in the fit portion of it. Does that make sense? Any questions? Is anybody having trouble with this? Are you doing actual techniques that you've been doing? Everybody? All the randori is an incredible building block to be able to take it to the next level. Walking is the most, or actually falls and rolls is the most important. Then your walking fits in, another building block. Then your releases fit in, another building block. And then your 17, and then the rest of your causes. But they're all part of the same process and program. That makes sense? So grab your partner. One of you get down on a knee, or two knees. Except you, Tanya. You get.
Yeah, I don't need to.
Yeah, you don't need to. And change partners. Get down to the knee and see how easy this is. Hey, I have a question. Why'd you go, oh?
You knocked the wind out.
But you're the one that moved my arm. Aren't you?
I was expecting you to collapse on top of me. I tend to make noises anyway. I tell you, if I'm not screaming or swearing at you, if you just hear an don't worry.
Awesome.
Right, I need another partner. Yes.
Beautiful relief. You see that? That's all the relief was.
And then what do? You just
Yeah. Here, let me show you. Here, lay down.
I see it.
Lay down. I'll show you. The guy was holding me up with this, or I was kind of holding myself up with this hand. He pushed his hand out.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
Right.
What? Huh? You okay?
I learned not to panic or stuff like that. I just stay.
Oh, I understand. You don't think that's a good technique for police? Oh, it is. Absolutely. Plus, you just lay there and you can still cover 180 degrees. And even if you turn for a case, you
I'm not in
because that means what?
You separate somebody.
Boom!
You separate that here. They come in.
These police workers set us up in disadvantage. And I told them, you know, if you put me out there, because I was the go-to guy. They gave me all the really bad asses. And then I'd go do something and they go, you can't do that. Did he say? Did he hurt? Is he in custody? Well, fuck you then. If you don't like the way I do it, go fucking do it yourself. Bitch. Because they couldn't get anybody else to do it.
Right.
All right. Oh, okay. Here, let me see that. Try to get it's not working yet. Still, talk to it. Maybe it will. You've missed me, haven't you? Not much. Beautiful. Now you killed the baby, Brian.
I know. Oh, are we still worried about the baby?
Yeah, we're still worried about the baby. We're still worried about the baby. Kill the baby. Call the HS. Call child welfare.
Okay, watch for the baby.
The motherfucking pterodactyl behind you.
Sorry, man.
Don't be messing with the motherfucking pterodactyl back here.
Off balance now.
Now he gets it.
Now you had number 4 release there. You see the number 4 release?
Isn't that what I did?
You have it here. Right there. Just right there. No, don't come up. Just push right in. No, not down. Push. Here. Push in. See what happens? Oh, yeah. See that? Here, if you push down, he's coming right down on top of it. Now you got to fight with it. But if you push there, now you got his back. Now again, that's my personal preference. I don't like to be face to face with somebody. They've got all their strength and all their weapons here. The more I can blade them, and we talk about this in firearms too. If they've only got this much swing, you've got that much safety net. So I always try to turn him. Always. If he grabs me in judo, I try to turn him before I hit the technique. Do a release and just hit me with the technique. You're already there. Judo technique. Do just that same thing, but turn me first. Whoa. Do Soto. Push this arm in.
Oh, I grew an inch.
With that, I mean, how's the guy going to stand? He can't hold you out with his elbow because you've got it past here and you're already there. Don't fight the bad guy. Make him fight himself.
No, this is good. I'm not
Absolutely, we're randori. That's exactly what I'm doing. Now I'm not, and I can do that same thing to a judo technique. Why do I want to? I mean, you're a judo guy. If I come in, nope, stop me going on Soto. That's very easy to stop me going on Soto unless I do this. Does that make sense? Do that same thing. Come in normal, like you normally would, and I'm going to stop you. Bend that elbow. Break that elbow. See how it just destroys me? I mean, all you got there between you and the ground to throw with, and all your power still there. Because you haven't used all your power.
So when you practice these actually practice releasing right up here and turning.
Absolutely. You're grabbing me. That's it. Okay, let's do let's do the call. I don't do you gave me a choke there, didn't you? Is that number 3?
Really good way to practice things.
You gave me a choke, didn't you?
You're blading me each time.
Every time. Now, don't just stand there as you do that. Take that. Isn't that nice? Okay. Car going 20 miles an hour. Car going 20 miles an hour. You have 40 miles an hour. So if you only do your 20 mile an hour and stand there, you're only going 20 miles an hour. But if you'll step as you do that, you just double your speed by making me move and making that choice. Does that make sense? How sweet is that? That's how I make a whip. That's how I do farm. I don't stand here and do this. I stand here and do this. Does that make sense? Yeah. You're going to have a much greater chance of going, okay, now you really want to give up now or not? Or you really want to give up now or not? As opposed to here, you actually got to finish the fight and kill them. Well, I don't want to kill nobody. I want to take, but by taking control, by keeping the advantage, you're less chance of doing that.
It's weird when we're practicing releases. We're always like, oh, you didn't step out far enough, or you didn't, you know how we do. I mean, it really, there's just so many variations on how you do that release. There's no sense in making it so, like, he's got to be this angle, that angle, this without.
You know why I stay in close? Because I work cattle all my life. And if you get this close behind the calf, it'll kick you about 23 times before you can touch it. And each pound of the calf is about 10 times stronger and 10 times faster than human muscle. So when I developed the habit, when I step there here, hit me with that elbow real hard. Does that make sense? If I now don't hurt me, but right there, you can bust that spleen right out. All you need is this much space, and that's why I close up. I call it in or out. If I'm punching and you're that distance out, you're good. If you're this, don't cover my hands. If you're this distance, you're good. But if you're this distance and not covered, you're in trouble. So let's do the releases from punch. I'm gonna punch, just cover. Now you didn't step, did you? Finish your step. It doesn't matter whether I'm trying to punch or not. Does it? All of a sudden, I train professional boxers. They come in and they go, oh, okay. You get me? I'm fat, I'm old, I'm slow. They go, what'd you do to me? Well, you'll take your fucking ego out the goddamn door, come back in, we might talk. Does that make sense? I've trained national karate champions, I've trained every martial arts style. MMA, a lot of guys love me. Well, what do you do to us? Well, I'm doing some releases. Well, what's that?
I thought it was across your neck and my face. It's back to the team.
Makes me to do the releases more. Practicing different. I said use one.
Now, on 2 and 4, really emphasize rep strong. Really emphasize curling. See how that works right there?
It's your circles again.
Now, real slow, just curl. I can't stop that, can I? Number 4, the same thing, curl the other direction. No, you're using your arm. Don't you feel how you're using that? Just curl these fingers and see what happens. And that's what I'm doing to you. When you grab me hard, isn't that nice?
That's much better because I'm in here.
Yeah, I
Nobody explains that to people when they're learning. They're like, why are we doing it? What are we doing? You know?
Well, because we were raised, when we come up, you sit down, you shut up, you listen, and you do it 5,000 times. We were raised in a very archaic system. The system here is let's have some fun. Let's learn from each other. Let's explain things. You gotta, just because I do things a certain way, you need to do them a little bit differently because your body size, your thought process is different. Your situation, like I said with the doctor, your situational stuff is an emergency. You don't like parking lot. You need to be working in psychotic patients they bring in and just turn on without cut. They're very fucking dangerous. That makes sense? Everybody doing okay?
Thank you, sir.
more or less. Thank you.
This is what I think it is.
Sounded like he was stopping it, I'm not sure.
I'm muscling the shit out of it.
Do a release. You're muscling.
Yeah.
This is okay. Let's talk about this.
Do the other thing.
This
wrist will bend.
Okay. This is a number 4 release. Just curl your fingers. Curl them hard. That's all it needs to be. Now, if you leave it straight and try to pull from here, that's the fight. Don't do that. Curl and step. How easy is that? Now he's got a Kotegaeshi. Does that make sense?
Overthinking and over-muscling, ain't it?
Over-muscling, grab it. Wasn't that nice? If you grab me a different way. I'm simple. A guy told me to dance. When he learned to dance, he stuck a chair out in the middle of the room and danced around. Did you feel me moving around? I wasn't trying to take you anywhere. Do another release. I'm not taking you anywhere, am I?
I'm just trying to maintain an upright position.
Right. Does that make sense? Just do a number 1 basic release and move around. What can I do here? You got a car going 20 mile an hour this way. I'm the car going 20 mile an hour, and if you stand there, there's just 20 mile an hour. But if I'm going 20 mile an hour and you go 20 mile an hour, we're going 40 mile an hour, number 2. And there you are. Now, instead of pulling me back normal, okay, what do you got? You got a 300-pound man laying on you have to hold up.
Or the other thing that would
Great. Well, that's no fun.
Huh?
That's no fun.
No. Get behind me, right there, push down on my shoulder.
Oh, you're sure up there.
Exactly. Was that a lot easier on you than me?
Oh, yeah.
Pull me back. Pull me back.
Yeah, then I got to figure out a way to support your ass.
There's a fight.
Survive it.
You don't want to do that. No. You want to just get behind the guy, and you've got total control. You can either let him fall all the way down, or you can let him stand up, or you can do whatever. Randori. Now, you got a release right there. Don't wait. Step around it. Beautiful. You see what I'm saying? I'm a 2.5 ton truck. You can stand there and or you can walk off the sidewalk and hop in back and drop a grenade in the wind. Well, with me I would. If I had to fight me, I would. Does that make sense?
It does, actually.
Beautiful. Now don't stop there. Your first step goes all the way here.
Okay.
Your first step, right. What else do you need to do there? If you stop yourself out here, stop yourself right there.
Yeah,
Right there.
traditional length.
Now you're just in a dogfight with me, aren't you? But the minute you finish that step, you've dropped me into a hole, I'm off balance, you've got control. Does that make sense?
A couple more times, let my dumbass sink in.
Don't step back.
Did I?
You step back.
I didn't even realize it.
I'm going 20 mile an hour this way, you go 5 mile an hour this way, and then 20 mile an hour this way. You're covering twice the distance with half the speed. Don't give ground. Here, watch.
Yeah.
Grab it. Real slow grab it.
So what I'm doing, I'm getting here.
Well, but even for that,
I'm wanting separation instead of contact.
well, also when your initial movement was, you step back. How far have I got to go to get there now? Now I've got to not only get that distance, but the distance that I gave.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So as he comes in, one smooth move, I never give ground until I'm overtaken. Okay? We're in a pushing match. I lean on people until they overpower me, and then I give ground and redirect. Does that make sense? Yes. You felt me give ground, but I didn't do it of my own volition. You did that. Does that make sense? Oh, you pushed into me. Don't push into me. Step to the side of me.
That's what you wanted me to do.
No.
To attack you again.
No.
In a strong position.
Oh, you didn't step into me.
No, I didn't. I'm coming. I know exactly what I'm doing.
Step into me. There you go. Can you see how much stronger of a position that is?
This is what we were talking about on the phone today. The old and the new.
Exactly.
This is the evolution that I missed. What I'm doing is I'm stepping big line off the line, and then retreating, and then recycling. And that's
Marine.
Apparently that will not work on
Marine. You're Marine. When you flank, this is not flanking. This is flanking. That's not flanking. You go directly to the point that's best service for you. That's what grabs you. Now, do a number 4 release here. Just push that elbow in. No in. Because my elbow's down. No, you stepped back. You took that foot back. Step forward. Now, around. Not into me, but behind me. Okay. Now, do that and do no solo guard. Ooh, isn't that sweet? Isn't that sweet? Yeah.
That's how that works.
That's how that works.
I'm not being facetious.
That's how that works. That's how all this works. So you put me in a technique. I'm going to do a release. What release is this? Number 4, isn't it?
I'm trying to
get it firm. Here, you need the other hand? Get it firm. I do a release. Did you feel it? I did a release. Let me have both hands. Now just relax. Do a release. Bring the elbow over. Bring the easy. Don't break my fucking wrist. That will break my wrist quicker than shit.
Okay.
Isn't that sweet?
You're in that unreleasable position.
I cannot turn loose here.
Did not realize that.
I cannot turn loose here.
That's survival instinct.
Do what releases this. Isn't that sweet? Now you stepped back again, didn't you? Step in instead of out. Wouldn't you rather be here?
Yes, I would.
Now, I'm not saying that Oshitaoshi is a bad thing. I'm saying that the closer you get is more comfortable for me. Does that make sense? Can it work? And you're right there.
And several different.
You have
infinite
number of Oh, no. Is that a little bit clearer?
No, that's a lot clearer.
It's the same thing we went through.
Yeah.
But what's happened is, you got to understand, you got pulled back into where you got to do it this way and this way. I've been fortunate for waiting. I'm going to do it how I normally did it.
You've hit just about every point that I didn't understand. Over the phone. It's feeling
simple, isn't it? Yeah. It doesn't matter how I get you.
I'm not pulling this one, I'm pulling that one.
No, where's that elbow? That's a number 3. Put your hand on the elbow. Push up. And there you are. Get me in any position you want. Okay. What's my options here? Are you sure?
This one.
Or I could do a number 4 release and watch what happens. But that's the importance of going slow, so you recognize where you are in time and space, and you can go, oh, I can try this option, but maybe this option would be a little bit better. I was here. You can do a number 4 from there. Watch what happens when you do a number 4 from Jesus. Simple, isn't it?
I'm trying to, like I said, I'm overthinking this a little bit. One more time. Just curl it in.
Just curl it in.
Instead of making the big long, gated step to the
What's your plan?
Normally
you do a number 1.
Yeah.
You go ahead and do number 1.
No.
You all help me, didn't you? Or you can do a number 4 with the other arm.
At one point when I was in undergrad, I got this book that had
Oh God, that was hard. Put me in that.
but it had
Half an area.
I can do a number 4 with the other arm, can't I?
Yes, you can.
I don't care if you have that wrist or not.
and one of them was Spanish.
Okay, listen up, guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. If you think somebody's got a technique on you, that's great. Don't fight it. Let them have that technique and see what comes out of it. Does that make sense? Brian, can I borrow you, sir? Sure. I'm not going to do any trouble. But if Brian gets me in a technique, whatever technique he wants to get me in, right here, I forget about that one technique and go to something else. Does that make sense? I'm not saying that he can't hurt me. I'm saying if I fight with this, I'm going to be in trouble. Does that make sense? People get to a position, go to guys real slow. They get here and they start, hell, let him have the damn thing. Push on it. I know. Oh, what happened here? That's a nice go to guys, reverse. But it's because I didn't fight it. Okay, sir. It's because I didn't fight it. We get in trouble when we fight stuff. Now, I'm not saying not respond correctly. I'm saying fight stuff. So if they've got you in a technique, no matter what it is, you don't necessarily fight it. Sir?
showed me something Kotegaeshi or reversal thing where I remember I went flying. Maybe you should do that. If you remember.
Well, you can do that. Or I can put you in a kotomawashi. I didn't catch the kotomawashi, but what have we got here? At least I'm not, my point is, I'm not going, I'm going to get out of this by stopping him. Because I tell you what, he's athletic and strong enough, he'll break every bone in my body before I get out of it. And as you can tell, my body is not that good of shape, unless some of you like some of my aspects. Oh, was that you that was talking about that?
Shape.
Does this pants make my ass look big?
Nope. Your ass makes your ass look
Can't see there's too much shape.
Does everybody, is this making sense to everybody? When somebody gets you a technique, whatever it is, think, do a release. Can I do a number 4 release here? I've got a number 4 right here by just pulling, and that takes me to the kotomawashi. Or I can do a number 4 on this side. Does that make sense? But getting out here and going, with Brian, he's going to kick me every day. He's such a great athlete. Like most police officers, he's not real bright, but he's a great athlete. Now watch this, I can beat him real quick.
Yeah, I know.
Come on, work with me. Any questions? Were you satisfied, Mr. Norman?
In about 6 months I will be after it sinks all in.
Everybody here have a good, positive, something you can take home and survive with today in your work, in your home. Chris, did you pick up anything today, sir?
You mean something non-perverted from you?
Well, yeah, you know.
Oh, other way, yeah, sure. Yeah,
Okay, well, everybody else, any input, any?
I'd just like to give a round of applause to Norman Fielder for putting on a gi after 17 years of not having one.
I would like to applaud him for using toilet paper today.
Yeah! Great to see you back on.
Thank you.
That's all I have, but that's okay.
Bravo! Thank you, JW.
These same simple basics are the key to everything. When he says stay on the balls of your feet when you're walking, if you don't have that, all the rest of this is nothing. You might as well be drinking tea somewhere. Not that I don't mind drinking tea, but it's a waste of time. He says moving from your center, if you're not moving from your center, all the rest of this is nothing. Each little thing that he talks about every day is critical to what we do. And we talk about this in firearms. You know, I take guys out to the range, and these guys are in uniform, been in uniform for years, and they can't hardly hit the target. And they say, what's wrong with my gun? I said, I don't know. And I'll take it from them and turn it upside down and start firing, getting little holes like that. And they said, well, what did you do? I said, I watched the front sight and squeezed the trigger. I watched the front sight and I squeezed the trigger. JW, Nick, what'd you do? Well, I stayed on the balls of my feet and I moved my center.
Keep my knees slightly bent.
Keep my knees slightly bent. Wash my geese so people don't fall over just from the ambiance of it. So when you go home, do your Nick Lowry drills. Do yourself a favor and put yourself in harm's way and save somebody's life that you love and care for. And I guarantee you, it will come back in bushels back to you. You know, you might be injured. I'm injured. I've been injured before. But guess what? My teachings go on. I've saved lots of people's life over my career. through my suffering, they don't have to suffer the same injuries and problems that Nick and I have put ourselves through. Does that make sense? This is like the old one-room schoolhouse. Everyone here is a teacher. Everyone here, from the lowest, the one-day person that walks in this room to the most ranking person there is a teacher. One-room schoolhouses, for those of you that don't remember them, I don't know why you wouldn't, but you have a teacher. She works with a couple of the brightest seniors. Those seniors work with the rest of the seniors. Then those seniors work with the juniors. And those juniors, they work the grades below them, and they're all progressing at the same time. No one's better than anybody or less than anybody. They just happen to be down the road another couple miles because they lived a little bit longer and walked a little further. Does that make sense? So my thanks to you all is thanks you for allowing me to work with you so I learn from you. Thank God for it. I mean, I'd be lost without this stuff. That's my spiel. That and $6 will buy you a cup of coffee and an oatmeal cookie at Starbucks. I'm going to get a Starbucks on the back of my jacket so that I know that we...
This message brought to you by Starbucks.
Yeah, by Starbucks or whoever.
Okay, we start at 6:30 for judo. Match open. Thank you very much, JW.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to hang around about 10 minutes for questions, 30 minutes for questions. If anybody has any questions, if you don't, I'm going to head on out.